If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I always lean towards playing Sega games, especially on the Genesis. It's just what I grew up with. But I would be a horse's ass if I sat here and said that I didn't enjoy playing Nintendo games. That's like saying, hey, I love the NBA, but I can't stand March Madness. Or hey, let's go to a strip club, but please, for the love of God, can we go to one where they actually wear bras? Okay, bro, to each his own, provolone. The NES is synonymous with retro awesomeness. I definitely own a lot of games, around 110, which is a lot to the average person who actually has sex, but it's peanuts compared to some of these wackos who own entire collections. But out of these 110 or so games that I own, pretty much all of them are games that I love to play on the NES. I mean shit, I only own 3 or 4 black box games. Wild Gunman, which my buddy Marco gave me, Excite Bike, a classic, there it is behind the wood. I guess this cartridge counts, right? And of course, one of my all-time favorites, Kung Fu. Believe it or not, the majority of my experience with this game is on the Atari 2600 version, which was actually a solid port considering the hardware's restrictions. The game is still at my parents' house, so I can't really show any gameplay footage since I really only do original hardware. FYI, this footage is from a modded RGB NES that's hooked up to the FrameMeister. Yeah, the FrameMeister, for those delicious, chunky pixels. God damn, this shit's beautiful. Anyways, there's not really much to say about this game that hasn't already been said. This was the true, classic, original 80s side-scrolling beat-em-up game that paved the way for games like TMNT Arcade Game, Streets of Rage, Final Fight, and even Golden Axe. Crazy to see how far we've come with Shredder's Revenge, right? The gameplay is simple as a pimple, like making toast. You control the main player, Thomas, with your D-pad and have 2 attack buttons to punch and kick. The D-pad is used not only to crouch, but also to jump, which was pretty common back in the day due to a lack of buttons depending on which game you're playing. Punches and kicks can be performed from standing, crouching, or a jumping position. Punches get you more points than kicks and do more damage, but their range is obviously shorter. Every 50,000 points, you get an extra life. If you haven't noticed, I haven't played this game in some time, and I'm sucking ass in the gameplay footage. Whatevs. The whole point is to have fun, right? The game has 5 floors, which you can see on the top of the screen with 5 boxes, each floor ending with a different boss. Each boss has a health meter like Thomas, which leads to the game temporarily becoming a one-on-one fighting game during a boss battle. One of the things that I love about this game, and I know it sounds stupid and simple, is that you get your life replenished when you go to the next level. I don't know, those little things make games better in my opinion. The bosses of the first 4 levels are Stick Fighter, Boomerang Fighter, Giant, and Black Magician. The boss on the 5th floor is Mr. X, the leader of the gang that kidnapped Sylvia. Obviously I can't show you these because I'm total trash at this game, but I'm sure you can watch some dude on YouTube beat this game without getting touched. Which blows my mind, by the way. Like, do these people actually practice these games? Who the fuck has time to achieve perfection like that? I can barely wipe my ass properly, and these dudes are beating Ninja Gaiden or Gaiden in one sitting without dying. Like, dude, can you save some pussy for the rest of us, please? Also, is it just me, or does Mr. X's laugh sound like the Game Over screen from Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link when Ganon starts laughing at you? Also, Mr. X, isn't that the same main boss in Streets of Rage? Was there homage paid to this game? Someone comment below if that's the case. Overall, this game was amazing for its time, and it's still fun as hell to play almost 40 years later. Jesus Christ, 40 years? God, we're getting old. But this is the perfect example of, hey, let me kill 30 minutes and play something simple and fun to get a quick fix of retro video games in. I mean shit, this port might even be better than the arcade version depending on who you are, just like Contra. But this is a must-own if you collect or even just casually play NES games. For a loose cart, it's $10, so it's a no-brainer. For a complete in box, you're looking at around $70 depending on the condition, which is actually insanely cheap compared to other complete in box NES games. Pick it up, you won't be disappointed. It's a solid challenge and one of those games where the longer you play, the better you will definitely become. It's not NES hard, it's just classic arcade goodness.